Hey, future officers. You ready for another deep dive? It's December 19th, 2024, and let me tell you, today's news is a bit of a wild ride.
That's right. We've got stories about everything, from digital crime-fighting tools to the fate of Himalayan trees.
Buckle up because we're about to cover a lot of ground.
Absolutely. And it's all about connecting the dots, seeing how these seemingly random events relate to your UPSC prep. Ready to dive in?
Absolutely, let's go. First up, let's talk about something that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. CCTNS, the Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and Systems.
It's been in the works for a while, but here's the big news. It's now live in all 17,130 police stations across India. That's right, every single one.
Wow, 100% deployment. That's impressive. But for those of us who aren't tech wizards, can you break it down? What exactly does CCTNS do?
Well, think of it as a massive online platform, a place where police can store and access records of everything related to crime.
So we're talking about accused persons, habitual offenders, missing persons, stolen vehicles, the whole 9 yards.
You got it. It's like a giant digital web that connects all the dots, helping police track criminals and solve cases more efficiently.
Okay, I'm getting some serious Minority Report vibes here. But this isn't just about storing information, right? It's about analyzing it too, finding patterns, identifying trends, maybe even predicting crime.
You're catching on quickly. The more data the system collects, the more powerful it becomes. It's like a crime-fighting crystal ball, helping police stay one step ahead.
And here's something else that's really interesting. CCTNS has been updated to align with the new criminal laws that came into effect this past July.
That's right. It's like a software update for justice. They've integrated the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the Bharatiya Saksha Adhinyam, and the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita into the system.
So it's creating a digital trail of justice. Every step documented, everything transparent and accountable. This is a game changer.
Absolutely. And for you, as a future officer, this is prime policy analysis material. CCTNS is a perfect example of how technology is changing governance.
It's making systems more efficient, more transparent, and more citizen-centric.
Exactly. And don't forget, the National Crime Records Bureau, the NCRB, they're a key player in all of this.
Right, the NCRB acts as the central hub for all crime and criminal data in India. So CCTNS feeds into the NCRB, creating this massive national database.
And that data can be used for everything from tracking individual criminals to shaping national crime prevention policies.
This is incredible. Imagine the UPSC essay question. Discuss the role of technology in modernizing India's criminal justice system.
You're already thinking like a true officer. Always be on the lookout for those connections, those insights that reveal the bigger picture.
Now let's shift gears and head to the Himalayas, a place that's often seen as this symbol of beauty and tranquility. But beneath the breathtaking scenery, there's a silent struggle taking place.
A struggle that could have far-reaching consequences. Have you ever pictured those iconic Himalayan birch trees with their white bark?
Oh, absolutely. They're practically synonymous with the Himalayas, standing tall against those snow-capped peaks.
Well, as beautiful as they are, they're facing a growing threat. And that threat is climate change.
Climate change? What's happening? Are they being chopped down or something?
It's more subtle than that. As temperatures rise and moisture becomes scarce, these trees are finding it harder and harder to survive.
So it's not about deforestation, it's about a changing climate that's making it difficult for them to thrive.
Exactly. And here's the thing. As these iconic trees struggle, they're being outcompeted by drought-resistant fir trees.
So it's like a slow-motion ecological takeover driven by climate change. That's unsettling. But honestly, why should we be worried about just one type of tree?
Because it's not just about one tree. Think about it. The Himalayan birch plays a crucial role in that ecosystem, preventing soil erosion, regulating water flow, providing habitat.
Okay, I see what you mean. Losing those trees could set off a chain reaction impacting everything from the soil to the water to the animals that depend on them.
Exactly, it's all interconnected. And for a UPSC aspirant, this is textbook environmental policy and climate change impact analysis.
It's like a real-time example of how climate change is impacting the delicate balance of an ecosystem.
And it's not just about the environment. Think about the potential socioeconomic consequences. What happens to the people who depend on those forests for their livelihoods?
Whoa, that's a lot to consider. It's a good reminder that environmental issues are often intertwined with social and economic factors.
Precisely. These are the kinds of connections UPSC examiners love to see, the ability to think critically and see the bigger picture.
Well, all right. Let's take a break from all this serious stuff for a minute. How about something a little more controversial? What about that politician who allegedly ate a protected bird?
Ah, yes, the red jungle fowl incident. It certainly sparked a lot of debate. And remember, this bird is protected under Schedule 3 of the Wildlife Protection Act.
So hunting or eating it is a big no-no.
Absolutely. And with the new criminal laws, this case gets even more interesting. Sections 3532 and 356 of the Haratia Naya Sosenira could come into play. We're talking about spreading false information and defamation.
Wow, it's like a legal thriller with a side of ecological drama. But beyond the legal aspects, this story really highlights the tension between tradition and conservation.
Right. How do we balance protecting wildlife with respecting cultural practices? It's a complex issue, no doubt.
Definitely. And it's the kind of dilemma that future officers like us might have to grapple with.
You've got that right. You'll need to consider the legal ramifications, the ethical considerations, and the social dynamics. It's all connected.
Speaking of complex issues, let's talk about something that's been in the news lately.
Hmm.
Sacred groves. The Supreme Court is calling for a national policy to manage them.
They are incredibly important, not just culturally, but ecologically as well. These are patches of forest, sometimes just a few trees, that are protected by local communities.
And they're protected because of their religious significance, right?
Exactly. And because they've been protected for so long, they often act as havens for biodiversity.
So they're like little pockets of pristine wilderness amidst all the human development. Wow, they sound magical.
They are quite special. And the Supreme Court's intervention highlights how important they are. They face challenges from development, deforestation, and changing cultural practices.
So the court wants to make sure these sacred groves are protected for the long haul. It's not just about saving trees, it's about safeguarding India's cultural heritage, too.
Precisely. Sacred groves are living testaments to the ancient wisdom of communities who understood the importance of respecting nature.
It's a good reminder that conservation isn't a new concept. It's been woven into the fabric of Indian culture for generations.
Absolutely. And the Supreme Court's involvement emphasizes the need to bridge the gap between traditional conservation practices and modern environmental policies.
Okay, I'm already thinking about the potential UPSC essay question. Analyze the challenges and opportunities of integrating traditional ecological knowledge into modern conservation strategies.
You're on a roll. Always be on the lookout for those connections.
Okay, time to shift gears again. Let's talk economics. What's the story with this recent surge in gold imports? What's making headlines?
Well, we're seeing a threefold increase compared to last year. $14.8 billion worth of gold flowed into India in November alone. That's a lot of gold.
Wow, that's a lot of bling. But seriously, what's driving this gold rush? Is everyone suddenly obsessed with jewelry?
Well, remember, in India, gold is more than just a fashion statement. It's deeply ingrained in our culture, a symbol of wealth, prosperity, and all things auspicious.
All right, my grandmother always said gold is like a security blanket, a tangible asset that holds its value, especially in times of uncertainty.
Exactly. And considering the current global economic climate with all its volatility, it's not surprising that people are turning to gold as a safe haven.
It's like a flight to safety, a way to protect your savings when everything else seems shaky. But it's not just about global anxieties, right? There are local factors, too.
You got it. Things like upcoming festivals and weddings, gold plays a big role in those occasions.
Oh, absolutely. The wedding season gold rush is practically a tradition in itself. And let's not forget the rising incomes and aspirations of India's growing middle class. More disposable income often means a higher demand for gold.
That's a crucial insight. Economic analysis isn't just about numbers. It's about understanding the cultural and social factors that drive economic behavior.
It's about understanding people. And for a future officer, that understanding is absolutely essential. Imagine being posted in a district where gold plays a significant role in the local economy.
You'll need to be aware of these nuances to make informed decisions and implement effective policies.
Okay, let's revisit the cheetah story for a moment. What are the latest developments on that potential relocation to the Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary?
Well, the debate is ongoing. As we said, introducing another apex predator into an area that already has leopards could have some unexpected consequences.
It's like throwing a wrench into a well-oiled machine. Leopards are at the top of the food chain there. Bringing in cheetahs could disrupt the balance.
Right. And it raises some interesting questions from a policy perspective. How do we balance the goal of reintroducing cheetahs with the need to protect the existing ecosystem?
It's about weighing the potential benefits against the potential risks. And it's a classic dilemma that we, as future officers, might face. Making tough decisions, often with incomplete information and conflicting priorities.
Exactly. The cheetah relocation debate is a perfect example of how complex decision-making can be.
Okay, I'm feeling the pressure. But it's also exciting to think about the impact we can have as future officers, shaping policies that affect people's lives and the fate of our natural heritage.
That's the spirit. Now, speaking of impacting lives, let's talk about something that could really change things for our farmers. Kisan Kavach, the anti-pesticide suit.
Ah, yes, the high-tech armor for our farmers. I was amazed when I first learned about it. It breaks down those harmful pesticides on contact.
It's a remarkable innovation. It really shows the talent and dedication of Indian scientists, and it tackles a crucial issue, protecting the health of farmers.
It's easy to focus on the tech side of things, but we can't forget about the human element here. These suits have the potential to improve the lives of millions of farmers.
Absolutely. And from a policy perspective, this raises some interesting points. The role of technology in empowering communities, promoting health and safety, and ensuring the sustainability of Indian agriculture.
So it's not just about the suit itself, it's about the larger social and economic impact.
Exactly. Think about the potential effects on farmer suicides, pesticide regulations, and the cost of adopting this technology.
This one innovation touches so many important aspects of Indian society, from health and safety to economics and policymaking.
It's a microcosm of the complex challenges and opportunities facing India. And for you, as a future officer, this kind of multidimensional thinking is crucial.
Wow, my brain is definitely getting a workout today. We've covered everything from crime-fighting tech to ecological challenges to economic puzzles and even high-tech fashion.
And that's the whole point of this deep dive, to help you develop those analytical skills and conceptual frameworks that are essential for the UPSC exam.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, there's something that's been on my mind. We talked about CCTNS, that huge database of crime and criminal information, and it's impressive, but...
Wait, you're thinking about the potential downsides.
Exactly. Data privacy, security breaches, potential for misuse, these are serious concerns, especially in the digital age.
You're right to raise those questions. It's important not to get carried away by the shiny new tech and forget about the potential pitfalls.
Things like predictive policing, profiling, discrimination. We need to talk about those aspects too, especially when it comes to protecting the rights of vulnerable communities.
You're thinking like a true officer. Remember, critical thinking is just as important as knowledge acquisition.
Don't just accept things at face value. Challenge assumptions, question the status quo, consider the unintended consequences. Okay, I have to admit, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but also energized. This deep dive is living up to its name.
It's all about exploring these issues in depth, uncovering the layers of complexity and seeing how everything connects.
And it's helping us prepare for the UPSC exam and for the challenges we'll face as future officers. All right, I'm ready for the final part of our deep dive.
We've got one last story to unpack, and trust me, it's a good one. We'll be talking about fashion, sustainability, and a plant that's often considered a weed. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into today's news. Are you ready for part 2?
Absolutely. We were just talking about the potential downsides of technology like CCTNS and the importance of data privacy and responsible use.
It's crucial to be aware of those concerns, no doubt. But let's move on to a story that might seem a little less heavy, but is still important for our UPSC prep. We were teasing it at the end of the last part: fashion, sustainability, and a certain weed. Any guesses?
Fashion, sustainability, and a weed. Honestly, I'm drawing a blank. I'm all ears.
Well, picture this. Clothes made from plants that grow like crazy, even in tough conditions. They need very little water or pesticides and can be turned into all sorts of fabrics.
That sounds like a sustainable fashion dream come true. What is this miracle plant?
It's milkweed. You know those plants you often see growing wild along roadsides and in those empty lots?
Wait, milkweed, isn't that what monarch butterflies need to survive?
That's the one. And that's what makes this so interesting. We're talking about a plant that helps biodiversity and could be the key to a greener textile industry.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued now. Tell me more about this milkweed fiber. What's so special about it?
Well, it's naturally hydrophobic, so it repels water. Perfect for outdoor wear and sportswear.
You mean I could have a stylish and eco-friendly raincoat? Sign me up.
And there's more. Milkweed fiber is also oleophilic. It absorbs oil. This combo makes it super versatile.
It repels water but soaks up oil. That's kind of weird but really cool. What can you even use it for besides clothes?
Oh, all sorts of things. They're looking at using it to clean up oil spills as insulation, even in life jackets. The possibilities seem endless.
This so-called weed sounds like a sustainability superstar. But can milkweed fiber really compete with the textiles we use now? Like, in terms of cost and making enough of it?
That's the big question. It's still pretty niche right now. But the research is moving forward. If we can figure out how to produce and process it on a large scale, milkweed fiber could totally change the textile industry.
This is exactly what India needs. A homegrown solution that's good for the planet, good for the economy, and good for local communities.
Exactly. And think about what this means from a UPSC perspective. This story touches on sustainable development, encouraging innovation, and supporting rural communities.
All right, I'm adding milkweed expert to my UPSC to-do list. I'm going to nail that interview question.
That's the spirit. Remember, the UPSC exam isn't just about memorizing facts. It's about understanding the issues and having ideas for solutions.
Speaking of solutions, this deep dive has been incredible. We've talked about the good and the bad of technology in governance, how to balance protecting nature with respecting traditions, the wild world of the global economy, and now this amazing innovation in sustainable fashion.
It's been quite a journey through current affairs, hasn't it? A chance to see all the ways the world is connected.
It definitely shows how important it is for future officers like us to understand how events, even ones that seem totally different, are actually linked.
And to develop the critical thinking skills we need to navigate this complex world.
Exactly. All right, so to all our fellow aspirants listening, keep your minds sharp, stay curious, and never stop exploring.
And hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with your fellow aspirants. Let's all help each other succeed.
Now, let's wrap things up with the last part of today's deep dive.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. Remember that doozy of a story I promised? The one about fashion, sustainability, and a weed.
Oh, I definitely remember. I'm all ears. Laid on me.
Well, we were talking about milkweed, that plant you often see growing wild. Turns out it has some amazing properties.
Yeah, you were saying it can be turned into fabric.
Yeah.
But how does that even work? And what makes it so special?
Well, for one thing, it's naturally water resistant. Like, it actually repels water.
Really? So it's like a natural raincoat?
Pretty much. That makes it perfect for things like outdoor wear and sportswear. You could have clothes that are both sustainable and functional.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But I thought you said there was more, something about oil.
Right. It's also oleophilic, meaning it absorbs oil. So it's got this unique combo. Water rolls right off, but it soaks up oil.
That's wild. What can you even do with that besides clothes?
Oh, all sorts of things. Think oil spill cleanup, insulation, even life jackets.
Wow, this milkweed is like a multitasking superhero. But let's be realistic. Can it actually compete with the fabrics we use now? Like, can we even make enough of it?
That's the key question. It's still early days, but research is ongoing. If we can figure out how to produce and process it on a larger scale, well, milkweed fiber could be a game changer for the textile industry.
It would be amazing to see a homegrown solution like this take off. Good for the planet, good for the economy, good for people. What more could you ask for?
Exactly. And for you as a future officer, this story highlights so many crucial aspects of policy. Sustainable development, fostering innovation, supporting rural communities.
Okay, my UPSC prep notes are getting longer by the minute. This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from high-tech crime fighting to Himalayan ecosystems, from the global gold rush to this amazing milkweed innovation.
It's all about connecting the dots, seeing how these seemingly separate events are actually intertwined, and learning to think critically about the challenges and opportunities they present.
And it's given us so much to think about. How technology can be used for good or bad, how to balance development with protecting our environment and cultural heritage, and the power of innovation to create a better future.
That's exactly what we hoped you'd take away from this. Remember, the UPSC exam is about more than just facts. It's about understanding the complexities of our world and developing the skills you'll need to navigate them as a future leader.
So to all our fellow aspirants out there, keep learning, stay curious, and never be afraid to ask tough questions.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with your friends. Let's help each other ace the UPSC exam and make a positive impact on India's future.
Until next time, keep diving deep.